At 2:17 this afternoon, Representative Jamie Raskin stood before the Senate Judiciary Committee and began reading names. For the next 4 minutes and 17 seconds, he read 47 names that, according to sources close to the hearing, had never been publicly connected to Kash Patel's security clearance process. By 2:21 p.m., when Raskin finished the final name, 12 Republican senators who had been leaning toward confirming Patel as FBI director signaled they would vote no. The nomination that appeared secure 5 minutes earlier was collapsing in real time. Subscribe to this channel immediately, because what is being analyzed here is not partisan politics. This is a Senate confirmation process reaching maximum tension when a single 4-minute testimony exposes information that fractures party unity and transforms what should be a procedural vote into a constitutional question about who controls the FBI. Turn on notifications because the mathematics of Senate confirmation just changed. 51 votes are required. Republicans hold 53 seats. That means Patel could lose 2 GOP senators and still be confirmed. Before Raskin spoke, Patel had 51 committed votes. After Raskin spoke, he had 39. The nomination went from secure to dead in 257 seconds. Here is what happened during those 4 minutes and 17 seconds, because the timeline reveals how confirmation collapsed. At 2:17 p.m., Chairman Dick Durbin recognized Raskin for questioning. Raskin began, "Mr. Chairman, I have obtained documents through FOIA requests that list 47 individuals who were contacted by Mr. Patel's legal team during his security clearance adjudication. I am going to read these names into the record, and I am going to ask Mr. Patel whether he directed his attorneys to contact these individuals on his behalf." The first 12 names were former Trump administration officials. Nothing surprising. Then Raskin reached name 13, a foreign intelligence officer from a sanctioned nation. Name 17 was a consultant denied clearance by 3 administrations. Name 23 was a sitting senator who had no idea Patel's team contacted him. Name 31 was a defense contractor under DOJ investigation. Name 38 was a private intelligence operative flagged by FBI counterintelligence. Name 42 was a lawyer who had represented designated national security threats. Name 45 was a technology executive whose company was banned from federal contracts. At 2:19 p.m., 2 minutes into the reading, Senator Susan Collins visibly reacted. She leaned over to Senator Lisa Murkowski and whispered something. Both took notes. By 2:20 p.m., 6 Republican senators were conferring quietly while Raskin continued reading. Chairman Durbin called for order twice as murmurs spread through the gallery. Several senators left the chamber briefly, making phone calls in the hallway, according to staff reports. Senator Lindsey Graham, a Patel supporter, attempted to interrupt Raskin on a point of order, arguing the disclosure violated classified information protocols. Durbin overruled him, stating the names had been obtained through unclassified FOIA requests and were part of the public record. Graham sat back down, visibly frustrated. Raskin never paused. He maintained the same measured tone for all 47 names, reading each with deliberate clarity. At 2:21 p.m., Raskin finished. He looked directly at Patel and stated, "Mr. Patel, did you authorize your legal team to contact these 47 individuals as part of your security clearance process?" According to sources in the room, Patel responded that his legal team acted within standard procedures and that he would not discuss confidential security matters in open session. His attorneys had advised him to invoke executive privilege protections, even though he was not yet confirmed. The legal theory was that discussing clearance processes could compromise methodologies used by the FBI in all future background investigations. Raskin immediately challenged this, stating that executive privilege does not apply to nominees and that the Senate has absolute authority to demand answers during confirmation hearings. Patel did not respond further. His silence became the story. Multiple senators later stated that the refusal to engage was more disqualifying than the list itself. If Patel had explained the contacts, provided context, or acknowledged errors in judgment, some Republicans might have accepted his account. The stonewalling made explanation impossible and confirmation untenable. Raskin then stated, "Mr. Chairman, if the nominee will not confirm or deny that he authorized contact with individuals, including foreign intelligence officers and persons under federal investigation, I cannot vote to confirm him to lead the FBI." Hit that like button right now if the significance of this moment is clear. A single list of 47 names just destroyed a Senate confirmation. The algorithm decides what breaks through. This analysis is showing how institutional processes fracture when information previously confined to classified channels enters public testimony. At 2:34 p.m., 13 minutes after Raskin finished, Senator Mitt Romney issued a statement opposing confirmation. Romney's statement opened the floodgates. Within 8 minutes, Collins and Murkowski released a joint statement calling the contact list deeply troubling. By 2:56 p.m., Cassidy, Tillis, and Cornyn had issued statements. At 3:11 p.m., Young became the 10th opposed, followed by Ernst and Rounds. Sassy, Moran, and Capito announced by 3:34 p.m. The mathematics shifted instantly. 51 Democrats voting, number 12 Republicans voting no, total 63 no votes. Patel needed 51 yes votes. He now had 37 maximum. Confirmation was mathematically impossible. At 3:47 p.m., Patel's legal team requested withdrawal of the nomination. The request came in a letter to the White House counsel's office stating that continued pursuit of confirmation would damage both Patel's reputation and the Senate's institutional credibility. The letter did not concede any wrongdoing, but acknowledged that the political environment had become untenable. At 4:03 p.m., the White House announced it was honoring that request. The press secretary read a brief statement praising Patel's service and expressing disappointment that partisan politics had derailed a qualified nominee. No questions were taken. No replacement was named. Within 90 minutes of the withdrawal announcement, Democrats were calling the collapse a victory for institutional oversight. Republicans were split. Some praised the 12 defectors for independence. Others accused them of capitulating to Democratic pressure tactics, the fastest collapse of a cabinet-level nomination in modern history. Drop a comment right now. Was Raskin's disclosure appropriate, or did it violate norms around security clearances? Every response reveals how this moment will be interpreted, because historians will debate whether this was transparency or sabotage. Here is what those 47 names actually represent. According to Senate Intelligence Committee sources who reviewed the documents, the list includes individuals contacted by Patel's attorneys to provide character references or professional assessments during his FBI background check. Standard procedure allows nominees to suggest contacts. The FBI then conducts interviews to verify the nominee's character, reliability, and susceptibility to coercion or blackmail. But the 47 names on Raskin's list include at least 11 individuals who would typically be excluded from such processes by FBI protocols established after the Aldrich Ames espionage case in 1994. Those protocols explicitly bar contact with foreign nationals employed by intelligence services, individuals under active federal investigation, persons previously denied clearances without remediation, and any individual flagged by counterintelligence databases. The presence of these categories on Patel's contact list suggests either deliberate circumvention of protocols or catastrophic oversight by his legal team. The question raised by Raskin is whether Patel directed a contact strategy that violated clearance protocols or whether his legal team acted independently. Patel's refusal to answer in open session means the Senate will never get clarity. And without clarity, 12 Republicans concluded they could not vote yes. Subscribe to this channel right now if you have not already, because the institutional implications of this collapse extend beyond one nomination. The Senate just established that nominees who will not transparently address security clearance questions in open session cannot be confirmed. That precedent applies to every future FBI director, CIA director, and DNI nominee. Here are the 6 indicators being tracked over the next 72 hours that will reveal how this confirmation failure reshapes executive-Senate relations. Indicator 1. Does the White House nominate a replacement immediately or delay? If a new name is announced within a week, it signals confidence. If the administration waits, it suggests uncertainty about Senate willingness to confirm anyone. Indicator 2, do any of the 12 GOP senators who voted no face primary challenges? If conservative groups target them for opposing Patel, it tests whether party loyalty or institutional concerns drive future votes. Indicator 3, does Raskin face ethics complaints for disclosing the names? Some Republicans are arguing the disclosure violated confidentiality norms. If the House Ethics Committee investigates, it creates a chilling effect on future oversight. Indicator 4, do any Senate Democrats praise the 12 Republicans for institutional courage? If bipartisan recognition occurs, it reinforces the precedent that security clearance transparency matters. Indicator 5, does the FBI Agents Association issue any statement on the nomination collapse? If current agents publicly express relief, it signals internal concerns about Patel's suitability. Indicator 6, does any reporting emerge on who leaked the 47 names to Raskin? If the source is identified, it reveals whether this was a coordinated effort or individual whistleblowing. Here are the 3 scenarios. Scenario 1, the White House nominates a consensus candidate, someone with bipartisan support, no clearance controversies, and Senate confirmation occurs smoothly within 30 days. This is the reset scenario where Patel's collapse is treated as an outlier and normal process resumes. Scenario 2, the White House nominates another loyalist. The Senate conducts hearings. Democrats and the same 12 Republicans vote no again. Confirmation fails a second time. This fractures executive legislative relations and establishes that this Senate will block nominees it views as unqualified regardless of party. Scenario 3, the White House does not nominate anyone. The acting FBI director remains in place indefinitely. The administration argues the Senate has forfeited its confirmation role by imposing unreasonable transparency demands. This creates a constitutional standoff where key positions remain unfilled because neither branch will compromise. The damage scenario where Senate advice and consent becomes non-functional. Subscribe right now. Like this video. Comment with your prediction on which scenario unfolds. The analysis will track all three, and when events develop over the coming weeks, the breakdowns will appear here immediately. Let the historical context be clear. FBI director nominations have rarely failed. The Senate rejected no FBI director nominee between 1973 and 2025. Confirmations were typically bipartisan. When Chris Wray was confirmed in 2017, the vote was 92-5. When Robert Mueller was confirmed in 2001, the vote was 98-0. The norm was overwhelming Senate support, regardless of which party held the White House. Patel's nomination broke that norm from the beginning. He was a Trump loyalist with no traditional FBI experience. His career included roles in national security, but never in federal law enforcement. Democrats opposed him unanimously from the announcement, arguing he lacked qualifications and would politicize the Bureau. But Republicans held 53 seats, so opposition was irrelevant mathematically until Raskin read 47 names and 12 Republicans decided institutional concerns outweighed party loyalty. What is certain right now is this. At 2:17 p.m., Raskin began reading names. At 2:21 p.m., he finished. By 3 p.m., 12 GOP senators had announced opposition. At 4:03 p.m., the nomination was withdrawn. The Senate just proved that confirmation is not automatic even when the president's party controls the chamber. Information matters, transparency matters, and when a nominee will not answer questions about security clearances, enough senators will vote no to block confirmation. The question now is whether this represents a one-time intervention by institutionalist Republicans or a permanent reassertion of Senate independence. If future controversial nominees face similar scrutiny and similar defections, the executive learns it cannot assume party line confirmation. If this was unique to Patel and future nominees pass easily, it becomes a historical anomaly. The next FBI director nomination will answer that question. Stay with this channel. Turn on notifications when the White House announces the next nominee, when hearings begin, when votes occur. The analysis will be here immediately. This is not over. This is the Senate exercising its constitutional duty to advise and consent, and 12 Republicans deciding that duty transcends party. What happens next determines whether American governance survived a moment of institutional courage or whether that courage was an exception that will not be repeated.